This was the mighty brand war that defined an era of boating. One motor earned the nickname Opti-Bomb, another triggered a bankruptcy that destroyed a century-old company, the third was so complex that mechanics refused to work on it. In the late 1990s, EPA emission standards forced manufacturers into a direct injection arms race, promising revolutionary fuel economy and power. Evinrude, Mercury, and Yamaha each bet billions on different technologies. Two lost spectacularly, leaving thousands of boat owners stranded, nursing motors that couldn't be fixed. Only one survived. But how? The engineering decisions that determined which technology won reveal everything about practical marine reliability. So, who started direct injection? Direct injection two-stroke technology was supposed to be the holy grail that would let manufacturers keep building powerful, lightweight two-strokes, while meeting EPA emission standards that threatened to kill the entire category. The EPA's new regulations weren't just stricter, they were existential. Traditional two-strokes faced complete elimination from the market by 2006, unless manufacturers could dramatically reduce hydrocarbon emissions. Instead of mixing fuel and air in the crankcase like every two-stroke since World War I, these motors would inject fuel directly into the combustion chamber at precisely the right moment under computer control. The advantages were staggering. Traditional carbureted two-strokes wasted about 30% of their fuel straight out the exhaust port during scavenging, when fresh air-fuel mixture pushed out exhaust gases, but also escaped before the port closed. Direct injection would eliminate that waste entirely by injecting fuel after the exhaust port closed, delivering cleaner emissions, better fuel economy, and more power from the same displacement. Mercury claimed 45% better fuel economy than carbureted models. Evinrude promised to meet EPA 2006 standards 5 years earlier, while maintaining full power output. Yamaha claimed they'd combine 4-stroke efficiency with 2-stroke power-to-weight ratios, giving boaters the best of both worlds. But the engineering reality was infinitely more complex. These systems needed to inject fuel at 725 to 1000 psi directly into already pressured cylinders. The injection timing window was measured in milliseconds. Inject too early and fuel escapes out the exhaust port. Too late and combustion is incomplete. Fuel had to atomize into 5 to 10 micron droplets to burn efficiently, requiring precision that pushed manufacturing tolerances to their absolute limits. All this had to work reliably in saltwater spray. Temperature swings from freezing to over 200 degrees, and vibration that would destroy consumer electronics in 30 minutes. Each manufacturer took a different approach to solving these problems, and those differences would determine which technology survived and which ones became cautionary tales that mechanics still whisper about at boat shows. Evinrude launched Ficht in 1997 with their 150 horsepower model, targeting bass tournament regulations that capped power at that figure. OMC rushed the technology to market while struggling financially, competing desperately against Mercury's impending Optimax launch. While the German licensed technology from Ficht GmbH was fundamentally sound and used sophisticated computer-controlled injection, OMC's manufacturing quality control had collapsed. Parts from scattered facilities, including a newer Mexican plant, rarely met the micron-level tolerances the injectors demanded. The 1997 to 1999 small block Fichts, particularly 150 and 175 horsepower models with 60-degree V6 blocks, became infamous for catastrophic failures that often happened without warning. Injector bolts would break under pressure, allowing raw gasoline to spray into engine bays. When owners hit the starter, fuel would ignite into explosive fireballs. One documented Fix 175 exploded during startup at a California reservoir, blowing the cowling 30 feet high and raining burning fiberglass across the water. The owner suffered second-degree burns. Stories like this circulated through bass fishing forums, destroying the brand's reputation faster than OMC could issue recalls. OMC filed for bankruptcy in December 2000, just 3 years after Ficht's launch. When Bombardier bought the wreckage in 2001 for pennies on the dollar, they immediately issued recalls for 1999 to 2001 200 and 225 horsepower Fichts. reportedly more than 11,000 engines, to replace injector retention brackets, install stronger bolts, and update software, but the damage was permanent. Mercury's Optimax appeared in 1996 using a radically different air-assisted injection approach, with exceptional 10-micron atomization, created by mixing high-pressure fuel with high-pressure air before injection. Early motors from 1996 to 2001 earned the nickname Opti-Bomb among dealers, who saw patterns of fuel rail rust, air compressor failures that contaminated injection systems with metal debris, and tracker valve failures causing rough idle and dangerous surging at speed. Mercury quietly pulled motors around 2000 to 2001 to implement fixes through service bulletins rather than official recalls. Many motors blew catastrophically before owners knew bulletins existed. Unlike OMC, Mercury had the financial resources to survive. By 2005, Optimax motors were reliable, and 2006 Plus engines earned excellent reputations. Yamaha's HPDI entered around 1999 with staggering complexity, 5 separate fuel pumps and operating pressures reaching 1,000 psi on big block models. The 250 and 300 horsepower V6 models suffered insufficient oil delivery at mid-range RPMs, leading to seizures and connecting rods punching through blocks. Yamaha issued multiple service advisories starting in 2003 for oil pump replacements, ECM updates, and hotter spark plugs. The fatal flaw was fuel sensitivity. High-pressure systems with tight tolerances couldn't handle ethanol contamination. Mystery filters throughout would clog without warning, cascading into complete system failure. Yamaha abandoned two-stroke technology around 2009, focusing entirely on four-strokes. Mercury's 45% fuel economy improvement claim over carbureted two-strokes wasn't marketing hype, it was real, and the numbers back it up. A 150 horsepower Optimax burns roughly 6 gallons per hour at cruise around 3,800 RPM, compared to 9 to 11 gallons per hour for a carbureted 150. That's a difference of 3 to 5 gallons per hour, which adds up fast. Run that motor for a typical 8-hour fishing day and you're saving 24 to 40 gallons. At current fuel prices, that's $80 to $130 saved every single trip. At trolling speeds around 2 knots, the Optimax sips about 0.2 gallons per hour, barely more than a lawnmower. At wide open throttle, a 200 horsepower Optimax burns approximately 18.5 gallons per hour. These numbers compete directly with 4-stroke fuel consumption in the same power range, which was previously thought impossible for a 2-stroke. Ficht motors matched Optimax fuel consumption when running properly, delivering similar savings over carbureted alternatives. The direct injection technology worked exactly as promised for fuel efficiency, but here's what the brochures never mentioned. Ficht motors were extraordinarily sensitive to fuel quality and low-speed operation. Extended trolling at 1,000 to 1,500 RPM would carbon foul the plugs within 20 to 30 hours, leading to rough running, misfires, and expensive plug replacements at $7 per plug for 6 cylinders. The motors demanded clean, ethanol-free premium fuel and would punish owners who tried to save money with regular pump gas. Many Ficht owners reported needing to run Techron fuel system cleaner in every tank just to keep injectors functioning properly, adding another $5 per fill-up. Yamaha's HPDI numbers were less impressive, despite operating at higher injection pressures than either competitor. Part of this came from the complexity. Running 5 separate fuel pumps and maintaining 1,000 psi in the high-pressure system consumed significant parasitic power that didn't reach the propeller. The other issue is the HPDI's sensitivity to operating conditions. Running the boat at mid-range RPMs with the boat at a sharp angle, a common condition when getting on plane or operating in rough water, put tremendous load on the engine while the oil pump wasn't spinning fast enough to deliver adequate lubrication under that load. This led to owners babying their motors, avoiding sustained mid-range operation, and generally operating less efficiently than the motor's capabilities allowed. Real-world fuel consumption often exceeded manufacturer claims by 10 to 20%. Oil consumption mattered because 2-stroke oil costs real money, typically $8 to $12 per quart for quality synthetic oil. The Optimax's variable oil injection system was genuinely clever. mixing ratios from 50:1 at wide open throttle down to 400:1 at trolling speed. Owners reported using 1 gallon of oil over an entire season of normal recreational use, maybe 100 hours of operation. Ficht motors used similar variable injection, but tended to use more oil overall, burning through a gallon every 60 to 80 hours depending on operating conditions. The HPDI motors, especially after the oil pump recalls and updates that increased oil delivery to prevent seizures, consumed less than original specifications, but still more than Optimax, typically a gallon every 70 to 90 hours. Noise matters when you're running 8 hours straight and trying to communicate with crew or enjoy your time on the water. The Optimax earned its reputation as one of the loudest outboards at idle. Noticeably louder than 4-strokes or even traditional carbureted 2-strokes. At idle, it produces a distinctive rattling noise from the air injection system that some owners describe as industrial sounding. Owners consistently complained about the noise, though most tolerated it for the performance benefits and fuel savings. Ficht motors were slightly quieter than Optimax at idle, but still substantially louder than 4-strokes, producing a high-pitched whine from the high-pressure fuel system. The HPDI motors operated at noise levels between the other two direct injection systems. Louder than 4-strokes, but not as obnoxious as the Optimax at idle. Underway at cruising speed, all three technologies were comparable in noise output. Maintenance costs reveal where these motors truly separate from each other and traditional alternatives. Post-2006 Optimax maintenance is relatively straightforward. Annual service includes spark plugs at around $7 each, compared to $3 for traditional plugs. Water pump impeller replacement at $100 to $150, lower unit oil changes at $30, and fuel filter changes at $20. Figure $400 to $500 for annual maintenance if you do it yourself, $800 to $1,000 at a dealer. The critical difference is what happens when something goes wrong. Optimax injectors cost serious money to replace. We're talking $300 to $500 per injector, and you need 6 of them. Fuel rail service including disassembly, cleaning, and new seals runs $300 to $500 per rail. Air compressor failures require major repairs costing $1,500 to $2,500 for parts and labor. Tracker valve replacement runs $200 to $400. These aren't routine maintenance items, but they're common enough on older motors that you need to budget for them. Ficht maintenance when the motors ran properly was similar to Optimax, with one critical exception: finding parts. After OMC's bankruptcy and Bombardier's redesign of the entire product line, many Ficht-specific parts became NLA, dealer speak for no longer available. Injectors, electronic control modules, power distribution modules, and various sensors could only be found on eBay or through parts motors that other owners had given up on. This created a death spiral where Ficht owners couldn't get their motors repaired even when they were willing to pay whatever it cost, forcing them to repower prematurely and take massive losses on boats that were otherwise in excellent condition. HPDI maintenance was the most intensive of the three systems. Yamaha recommended changing filters every 100 to 150 hours, but that includes the mystery filters buried inside the fuel system that require removing the intake manifold to access. A complete filter service on an HPDI could cost $400 to $600 at a dealer, and many owners reported needing this service every season to prevent problems. The spark plugs needed changing more frequently than Optimax plugs because the HPDI ran hotter, typically every 100 hours versus 200 hours for Optimax. Oil pump failures were common enough on big block HPDIs that many owners preemptively replaced the pumps around 300 hours, even though the part cost $600 to $800, figuring it was cheaper than replacing a power head. These direct injection systems require specialized diagnostic computers, technical training, and parts availability. Your buddy with a toolbox can't fix them in his driveway. The differences between manufacturers in this area were stark and determined whether motors would ruin ownership experiences. Mercury's dealer network was and remains the strongest. Even during the Opti-bomb years from 1999 to 2001, Mercury maintained dealer relationships and provided necessary training and diagnostic tools. When problems arose, Mercury generally backed dealers and honored warranty claims, even for technically out-of-warranty failures. After 2006, when Optimax reliability improved, the strong network meant owners could get service almost anywhere in the country. Ficht owners faced vastly different circumstances. When OMC went bankrupt in 2000, hundreds of dealers abandoned the brand overnight. Technical support evaporated. Diagnostic software stopped being updated. Even dealers who wanted to support Ficht owners couldn't because parts supplies dried up. When Bombardier resurrected the brand, they focused on developing e-tech rather than supporting old Fichts. By 2006, finding a mechanic willing and able to work on Ficht was difficult. By 2010, it was nearly impossible outside specialty shops. Yamaha's HPDI network fell between Mercury and Ficht. Yamaha dealers existed throughout the country, and the company supported the technology with training and parts. But the system's complexity meant many mechanics simply refused to work on them. Finding a master Yamaha tech with specific HPDI training was difficult. Owners often drove hours to reach dealers who knew the systems. This dealer situation directly impacted operating costs in ways that don't show up on fuel economy charts. An Optimax owner experiencing problems can likely find a qualified mechanic within 50 miles, get diagnostic work done, and receive repairs in reasonable timeframes. A Ficht owner with the same problem might search for weeks to find someone willing to work on the motor, then wait for months for parts to appear on eBay. An HPDI owner falls somewhere in the middle. Dealers exist, but finding one with specific expertise and willingness to tackle complex HPDI problems takes effort. The used market tells the brutal truth about which technologies succeeded. Ficht motors trade at massive discounts. A 1997 to 2001 Ficht in running condition might bring $500 to $1,500, while comparable carbureted Johnsons command $2,000 to $3,000. Many buyers won't touch a Ficht at any price because parts availability makes them unrepairable. A 20-foot center console from 2000 with a Ficht might sell for $8,000 to $12,000, while the identical boat with a Yamaha carbureted motor sells for $12,000 to $16,000. Early Optimax models from 1996 to 2001 trade at similar discounts, though not as severe. The crucial breakpoint is 2002. Motors from 2005 to 2006 trade nearly at parity with carbureted alternatives. Post-2006, Optimax motors actually command slight premiums because of fuel economy and performance advantages. The HPDI story is complicated. Small displacement 150 and 200 motors with 2.6-liter blocks trade at modest discounts, perhaps 15 to 20% below comparable four-strokes. Big block 250 and 300 HPDI motors trade at massive 40 to 50% discounts. Buyers fear oil pump problems and potential powerhead failures. The smart play depends on your mechanical ability and risk tolerance. An Optimax from 2006 or later represents genuine value. A Ficht is only worth considering if you're mechanically skilled with access to parts motors. An HPDI requires careful evaluation, check compression, and verify all service bulletins have been completed. Small block HPDIs with confirmed service history can be decent values. Big block HPDIs should be avoided unless you're planning to repower. The winner is clear. Mercury Optimax. Drive to any boat ramp Saturday morning and you'll see hundreds of Optimax engines from 2006 to 2018 purring reliably on center consoles and bass boats. You'll see occasional small block HPDIs whose owners maintain them carefully. But victory isn't just survival, it's whether the technology achieved its promise. The Optimax succeeded, while Ficht and HPDI struggled. Later Optimax motors delivered the fuel economy, emissions compliance, and reliability that direct injection was supposed to provide. Owners routinely report 2,000 to 3,000 hours with nothing more than routine maintenance. Mercury built Optimax motors until 2018, a 20-plus year production run that proved the concept could work. The early problems were real and costly, but Mercury fixed them systematically. Ficht never got that chance. OMC's bankruptcy killed the technology before Bombardier could debug the manufacturing problems. The irony is that Bombardier eventually figured it out. Their E-Tech motors, introduced in 2003, used refined Ficht technology that addressed all original problems. By then, the Ficht name was so tarnished that complete rebranding was necessary. Yamaha's HPDI lasted until around 2009 before Yamaha abandoned two-stroke technology entirely. The complexity proved unsustainable for recreational marine use. The broader lesson is about theoretical engineering excellence versus practical marine reliability. Ficht had brilliant technology undermined by manufacturing quality control. Optimax had good enough technology backed by adequate manufacturing and excellent long-term commitment. HPDI had exceptional technology that demanded more precision than the marine environment allows. Love comparison videos? Then check out my video on why Mercury and Evinrude motors are so different. You'll love it. The direct injection two-stroke wars were about timing, manufacturing capability, and corporate commitment. OMC had the right technology at the wrong time with the wrong manufacturing base. Mercury had good technology and committed to fixing problems systematically, and Yamaha had exceptional technology that proved too complex for the real world. Today's reliable direct injection two-strokes exist because thousands of early adopters suffered through the problems and manufacturers finally learned the lessons.